Hey everyone, I am Keith. This is my Demon's Souls Let's Play. It's going to be what I would refer to as a semi-blind Let's Play, I suppose. For a little bit of background, I have beaten the first few bosses of this game before. I have beaten the entirety of Dark Souls, and actually, my main reason for coming back to this is that I love Dark Souls. It's probably my favorite game of that year, back in 2011. Holy shit. And I'm really psyched about Dark Souls 2. And what better way to... oh geez. What better way to prepare for the excitement that is Dark Souls 2 than playing Demon's Souls, its predecessor that is not forgotten, but certainly a bit less popular. Not to say anything about its quality, but simply the fact that it was a single platform release and just fewer people played it in general. It seems like a solid game, and I want to finally commit to playing through the entire experience. Looking a little awkward at first. I picked the Temple Knight because I did a quick little check online, and people recommend playing a character who has low luck, probably because it's not a particularly useful stat, and if someone starts off with a bunch of luck, they essentially have a whole wasted starting soul level. Having a little bit of difficulty with my first time ever using what I assume is called a halberd because of basic experience with... yep, still it's called a halberd in this game. It's a lot of a wind-up to this weapon that I wasn't quite ready for. I guess it didn't make any sense to expect it to control like a spear, because a spear is a much more lightweight object designed for stabbing, and this is a big swingy sword. I will be more than happy to pick up a different weapon when I find one. Not psyched about how long it takes to wind up. I feel like when I get mobbed by a bunch of enemies, that probably could be a weakness. Although it does seem to have a nice reach when it comes to hitting multiple people at once. This power attack especially is worrying with how long it takes to wind up. Maybe it'll go faster if I get higher stats in either dexterity or strength or something. Not 100% clear yet on how the stats in this game compare to Dark Souls, and I've admittedly beat Dark Souls like a year ago. But I am excited, because I think that these games here by From Software, they're onto something. I believe this one was still made by From Software. I don't know, published by Atlus? I don't think it was developed by Atlus. I love their sense of, not straight up difficulty in the way that people necessarily claim, even though I'm clearly botching my first little attempt here in an embarrassing way. People act like these are the hardest games ever made, and in some ways that's not entirely true. I think that people got caught off guard because they encourage a sense of caution that people are not used to applying in RPGs in general. When you play a role-playing game, or anything in this genre, oh, he's still alive, wow. So this is surprisingly hardy foes, considering how big of a weapon I just shoved through his torso. I guess that's what Undead does for you. When you play an RPG, they're often really stat... hello. You wanna have a little party? Oh, I hit the wall. Guess I'll just come out here. Come here. Come here. Come here where my halberd is useful. You slow ass undead. Come on. Come on. There we go. Wow, he survived that. This is I do not feel like I'm getting my money's worth with the sheer wind-up of this attack on this weapon and the not so great damage it seems to do. When you play an RPG, they're often really stat-driven, and a lot of them are like turn-based, or they're on a grid, or stuff like that, or they're real-time games like the BioWare games where you sort of queue up at a bunch of attacks for your character and they just sort of happen. So they're not used to the idea of doing a reflex-driven game. And the best comparison I think people have, oftentimes when they look at these games, is Skyrim. And in Skyrim, games like Skyrim and Fallout 3 and New Vegas can be difficult with the right settings and scenarios, but the actual combat is kind of just swingy. Like if you're a melee character in Skyrim, you mostly just spam your sword and maybe block at the right moments. There's kind of a lightweight, highly agile sort of attack spam element to it, and I don't think that isn't necessarily the best primer as a popular game when people are going to go from that to, say, Demon's Souls and Dark Souls, where every weapon has a certain weightiness to it, and you have to be strategic about when you choose to attack, when you block. Your attacking, your mobility, your attacking, your running, your dodging, and your blocking are all attached to 1 meter. And if you drain that too quickly, or you don't manage it properly, don't lower your shields at the right time to recharge it, even during boss fights, you will get flattened. And it's much more of an intense resource management situation than other games that I've seen. And of course, the slow attack speeds and high damage, both to and from your character, mean that every attack counts in a way that people may not be used to. Because for one, I've hit people 50 times in Skyrim before I killed them, and vice versa. I've had people just sort of slice me into little pieces, but I just keep persisting. Son of a bitch. It almost sounds like I'm picking on Skyrim, but it's not even close to being a single example of what I'm talking about. It's really a more all-encompassing thing for popular games. Hello, backstab. That is, I gotta say, this is not the most reasonable weapon to be backstabbing people with if you want to keep it. Let's see. Well, congrats to me then. Gotta get used to the range on this firebomb. Oh, return fire, will you? Well, that's just fantastic. That's not gonna reach, is it? Oh, he's just gonna fall. Well, problem solved. Oh! The environment is against both of us, my friend. You can't throw your bombs, I can't swing my weapon. Neither of us really want to be here, do we? So I started off with, what is that? I should actually check what my character starts off wearing. Talisman of God. So I assume I can use that to use my healing spell, which uses my mana. That's going to be something to get used to, the idea of having mana in a game. If I remember correctly, Dark Souls doesn't have a mana bar, or a magic bar, I guess it might be called. I haven't checked. Or an MP. It has, I think it has more of a spells per day approach, where you have to go back to, come here. You have to go back to bonfires, I think, to recharge your spells. I can't speak with complete certainty because, in all honesty, I have a tendency to play melee-focused characters, and that was no exception in Dark Souls. The big change, though, for me was in every RPG I'm used to playing super crazy hack and slashy rogue types, people that dual wield or use stealth and wipe people out, and that fast and loose approach works for some people in this series of games, and I applaud them for their bravery and skill, but the idea of playing a game like Demon's Souls and Dark Souls without a heavy amount of defense, slightly terrifying to me. I was more than happy to get excessive amounts of endurance when I was playing Dark Souls, simply for the purpose of being able to use... Can I use that, wait... Didn't I just get a bastard? There was a bastard sword. Don't have enough strength. Mail breaker, though, I can use that, but it's super weak. Let's see. Difference in strength. Wait. Here's the fun part where I get to learn all the different stats. I am very tempted to switch to the yeah, let's try the mail breaker. This will be a... Oh wow, that is a very small weapon. Let's give it a shot for a little while. It'll be a change from my big, hulking, awkward weapon, but it might be a welcome one. Come here. You having fun? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna feel this. I do like fast weapons in a lot of games. I played a lot of Dark Souls by using the... I think I used the Claymore at the beginning of the game, which you get by running past the dragon. And then once I rang both bells, I quickly switched to the lightning halberd. I think it's lightning spear, and I actually beat a lot of the game with that, being able to stab while using using a shield, as this guy right in front of us is showing us. Very useful ability. Let's just burn you a bit. Oh, firebomb! Where are you going? You've betrayed me. I don't know where that firebomb was going. You're supposed to go towards the guy that I'm aiming at, right? Because you didn't try very hard. Oh, that wasn't a backstab? Okay. Oop. But I very much enjoyed the sense of weight and deliberation built into these games in the melee combat. I like that it feels like every move you have has a consequence and you're being punished for when you make mistakes in a way that you don't necessarily always get. Anyway, I'm not sure if I fully finished my thought earlier, but I'm playing as the Temple Knight because it starts off with armor, which is nice. It's made this little beginning a bit easier for me despite some kind of pathetic mistakes I've made along the way. And supposedly luck is a not so great stat, so when a character starts off with a lot of luck, they're a higher soul level than they need to be for the stats that are actually useful, which means that you're essentially going to have to pay more souls in the long run to upgrade your character, which is not great. You might be noticing that I don't use a lot of riposte attacks. I think that's how you pronounce that word. I acknowledge that it's a badass move and it has its uses, but in a game like Dark Souls where you're not always fighting the same enemies for 5 hours straight in the way that you are often in other RPGs, there's a certain amount of adaptation to the different move sets that they have in their new... Wow! Nice little chain of fire there, spread from character to character. Chain of fire, I'm stuck on that thought now. Oh, hello. You want to jump off? Want to just jump off? Just make this easy for me? Fine, let's try this riposte. That didn't work. Damn it. I'm very bad at it, I guess. And I'm bad at the parry and riposte for whatever reason. And it's surprising to me because I love playing my favorite fighting games are ones like Soul Calibur and Dead or Alive, which are ones that have an entire like parry or counter system built in as a fundamental part of the game. Let's see if I can just throw a firebomb straight at the bombs there. Oh! It aims with the camera. Interesting. Gonna have a bit of a... There we go. Gonna have a bit of a learning curve as I go through this. There's both things I have to relearn from that I've forgotten from my Dark Souls experience, and things that are different between the two games that I'll have to adapt to. My hopes are to beat this game, and maybe even Dark Souls, and maybe even Shadow Tower, the predecessor to these games, besides Kingsfield, before Dark Souls 2 comes out, because I want to start making Dark Souls 2 videos as soon as that comes out, because that's going to be a big, exciting day for me. Come here. If I ever drop a topic on accident and don't come back to it, feel free to bring it up in the comments, and I will try to reapproach it in the following videos. It's often sometimes easy to get distracted by the immediate combat situations and get a little sidetracked. Oh, look at all this. I got a whole set of ragged clothes that I won't be using because I'm in full armor. Full sexy armor. Let's heal a little bit. I know a handful of the secrets in this area, but not necessarily all of them. So forgive me if I'm missing things, and only take solace in the fact that as I continue on through the later levels of the game, I will only miss more of them. Anyway, I do play melee-focused characters usually, but I am happy to have a character that starts off with a healing spell, which I probably should be using more, frankly, instead of using up my consumables all the time. I don't think mana regenerates in this game so much, so I probably need to conserve it to some extent, but I also need to conserve healing items, so it's really a split. I should take a moment, maybe not right now, to compare the casting speed of my healing spell to the consumption speed of Crescent Moongrass and similar items, so I can get a better feel for which one is more useful in the midst of combat and which one is more useful for when I'm healing between fights. The difference between healing items in Dark Souls and Demon's Souls is actually interesting. It might be the biggest difference between the two games, besides the fact that Demon's Souls is a sort of a hub world game, I guess. It's more Banjo-Kazooie like, where you have the central hub that has a bunch of portals that lead to a bunch of special levels, and all of those levels. Demon's Souls is like Banjo-Kazooie in that there's a central world. Here we go. Hello, buddy. There's a central world that takes you to all the different locations that the game takes place in. Whereas Dark Souls is more of a Castlevania game. The Metroidvania Castlevanias, like Symphony of the Night.
That was a bold jump. A surprise indeed. Well, now that you are here, pray thee, fend off these dreglings.
Well, you're a little bit entitled there, aren't you, Mr. Gold Armor? Just gonna make me take the ridiculous plunge into the fray while you wander around. Let's see if I can aim at those fire bombs. Oh, well. Character orientation is very important for aiming fire bombs, apparently. I guess they're just not near the fire. Come here, guys. I want to ruin your life. There we go. There we go. Look at me actually making good decisions. And by good decisions, I mean wasting valuable resources such as fire bombs in a probably not necessarily justified location. Here we go. Get a little healing. Hey, buddy.
My thanks for your brave rescue. I am Ostrava of Boletaria. Accept this as a token of my gratitude.
Okay, so a guy who can't fight for himself gives me an item that I can't use to fight. I guess I should have seen that coming. Breaking barrels! Breaking exploding barrels! Back on the topic of healing items. One of the surprising differences between Dark Souls and Demon's Souls for me is that in Demon's Souls, you don't have the Estus Flasks, which I found interesting because I'm a big fan of the Estus Flasks, to be honest. I know some people aren't. Those people probably played Demon's Souls first, so there might be a two-way bias of just whoever plays a game first thinks that's the best way to go. Oh, that's a big man. And now he's a small man. I enjoy Estus Flasks as a general healing concept in RPGs because I like the idea of it being an item that is limited use, and you can do some things to increase its uses, like how many times you can get it in an area by you can increase it from like say 5 to 10 and so on, but you can't get unlimited quantities of it. Let's look at the Scimitar. There we go. So the Scimitar does more damage, and I have enough strength to use it already. Let's switch to that. There we go. Got a little hefty swing to it that might be more useful than my admittedly faster but very stabby mail breaker. Hey, buddy. You want to just die? There we go. Let's try the two-hand swing. Scimitar does not have a lot of range, which is a little worrying. I do miss my claymore. I should look up whether or not it's in this game. I'm sure it is. Oh, jeez. There's a guy behind me. Hey. Hey, buddy. That did not work. I, like, awkwardly clipped him a bit in a silly way. Come on. I'm not a big fan of the concept of just spamming people with healing items in the fashion of, say, a Final Fantasy. Oh, those are indestructible, apparently. In the fashion of Final Fantasy games, or do any of these guys throw firebombs? Come here. There we go. You having a good time, buddy? There we go. See, this is a nice change from the mail breaker because it kills everyone in one hit, and at least, you know, these easy, undead, sort of shitty enemies at the beginning. Something I learned in a previous playthrough of this little area is that once you free this guy, if you come back to this region when all the enemies are respawned, he'll continue to wander around and wipe everyone out, and that just spams the hell out of you with free experience. Not big amounts, because this is an easy starting area, but it's nifty. It's one of the many ways that new players can get continually rewarded and empowered as they play through the area over and over again in their multiple failed attempts to wipe everybody out, because, oh, hello, you're aggressive, aren't you? And now you're dead. See? Now you've learned the big lesson of Dark Souls and Demon's Souls, is that if you run in head first and be super aggressive, you get stabbed in the back. I learned that the hard way, because players happened. I'm not a big fan of items, of your primary healing source being something that you buy with whatever the currency in the game is, because most currencies in RPGs can be farmed. You can get tons of gil in Final Fantasy. You can get tons of souls by just revisiting an area and killing the same guys over and over again. So if you can just keep buying healing items that way, there's no real stress or resource management involved, because you can just have a ton of healing items. So you don't necessarily have to worry anymore. Like, I can be fighting a boss in this game, and as long as I can find the moment... Oh, jeez. As long as I can find a safe moment to heal, I can just heal over and over and over again. Which is... You know, it's not completely broken. I mean, you still have to find a safe chance to heal, which in itself can be quite the challenge, and is one of the core things I love about this game as far as challenge goes, is the worrying timing problems you have to deal with your slow attacks and aggressive enemies and ongoing aggression to people just trying to hunt you down. Come here, buddy. There we go. I'm just taking the back route to the. I took a shortcut earlier when I jumped off that ledge to get to the NPC, and I'm just doing a little bit of backtracking just for the sake of, I don't know, completion's sake, I guess. I don't know if there's any items around here. There is a vendor behind these barriers here. I do like to clear out all the paths in a game. Is there an item here? It looks like it looks like a place that would have an item. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of unlimited healing, and then so you still do that when I come from this direction, huh? Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Buddy. Oh, blocked me. That's not good. That was sloppy of me. Oh well. I'm not a big fan of unlimited healing items because it encourages a perpetual cycle of damage enemy, receive damage, heal. Damage enemy, receive damage, heal. And in Final Fantasy games that became really tedious. Because I'm like, I'm Titus and I'm on an airship and here's my party and I'm healing everybody forever. And it seems to become in this endless cycle that goes on for an hour straight because you're not properly prepared for a situation to deal with the enemy quickly, but that's not stopping you from wasting everybody's time. Let's do some selling. Oh, this guy won't sell. Right, you can't sell items in this game. I completely forgot. That is a weird concept to me. Yes, I like the idea of this longsword. And I have enough currency for it. Yes. I don't really need to buy armor. I already started off with some, even if it's not necessarily quite as strong as the other stuff. But that stuff's so heavy, I don't necessarily want it anyway. Where is my longsword? Yes. A little bit of damage reduction. I think that only happens if you block with the longsword, though. Yes, there's a nice strong swing. That's what I like to see in a sword.